Yo, JD here, Terrell Limits, and as you can see, back on F1 2021 as always, and we are here for our first online race on Imola. I was very interested to see how the racing would actually go on this track. As you can see, I'm just adding Dan Cooper because when I race against people who are very clean and fast, I typically add them as a friend so I can race with them more. So that is just a tip for people who want that to happen. But we're going to be starting last as always and against a very competent grid. And let's see how this racing goes, because you only have one DRS zone. It's a very tight, twisty track, very technical. And I just wanted to see how good the racing potentially could be. So we get a pretty good start. Starting on these medium tyres, someone's dropped back quite far, and as usual, always carnage, but we're just trying to thread the needle through the haystack here, and a pretty good start up to P13. Have a Ferrari on my outside, so we just got to outbrake him, leave some room on the inside just in case, but manages to go through that scot-free. This guy, we're just going to go down the inside of Outer Poem, a very unusual name. And now we're into P11 with a combination of being patient and also decisive. So the setup I'm running here is a little bit different from my time trial run. It's a little bit more stable and a little bit faster in a straight line as well, because I did quite a few 5-lappers around here, and it became quickly apparent that ERS runs out very, very quickly around this track. So I think for esports and for league racing, you might actually want to be going with a setup that's very, very fast in a straight line, unless you can get out of the DRS zone and you're very confident in your pace here. So up behind this guy now. So we're using the ERS here, but deciding then to turn it off. You can see he's using a bit to try and defend. So we're going to try and save as much as we possibly can now. Already up into a reasonably good position. Really, really tough series of corners for this first sector. If you get it wrong, go on the curb too much, then you are potentially out of this race. Going through here, absolutely love these two corners. Was thinking about going down the inside here, but this guy actually defends really well, where they don't go fully defensive or fully on the racing line. They kind of choose somewhere in the middle, and that makes it very, very hard to overtake. So a good defense from him, because we're getting a very good exit. I was thinking about getting the inside there. No, just going to let him have a score. Try and compromise him. Try and get a really good exit, as we do get a very good exit. Let's see what we're going to do here. We're going to go down the inside for this. No, we're not. So again, he does a good defense. Not fully on the racing line, but just makes it harder for me. I get a really good exit coming off this corner. And come here, he just gives me a little shove on the grass. So a little bit cheeky coming down here. So we're going to return the favour just a little bit. Being a bit harsh, but yeah, get your elbows out a little bit. If someone gives your elbows out to you, then you receive it in return. That's the way I typically tend to drive here. But using the ERS now, just making sure that he's not going to launch the attack once again. And now we're up into P10. So you can see the leaders are quite a way down the road. And as I said in many videos, the softs are a very durable, good, consistent tyre in this game. So I think sometimes the turn strategy was actually more powerful on the last game than it is on this one here. But we do a purple first sector because you use quite a lot of ERS in that first sector. Now we're coming up behind a soft runner of unknown Pingu, runs very wide, already gets a 3-second time penalty. Also seems to be track limits are quite difficult to keep under control around this track. And as I said, in the 5-lappers I did, ERS was definitely a problem, track limits was a problem, and since you only have one DRS zone, it's actually quite hard to overtake people as well. So that's why I've gone for, also not just because of the ERS, but just a straight line speed, I've gone for a little bit of a lower downforce here. I think this is like 9.6 wings that I'm using here, so we're using it now. Deciding to turn it off because he has the DRS on the car bed, and you can already see he's red lighting, so that means he's under 10% ERS, or he might, I think he just ran out of deployment skid. They're going red lights as well, so again, both of these cars up ahead of me are really suffering on the battery power as he gets absolutely demolished into the wall there. So again, that just shows to me that it's a big problem. So it's going to be interesting for leagues, because I've actually got this, not this weekend, not tomorrow. I am league racing tomorrow, streaming this weekend. But the weekend after, I actually have Imola. So normally I like to run with high downforce, but I think low downforce might be the way to go in a race situation. However, that actually brings on to another problem, is that the tyre wear is quite high here. As this guy, I don't know if he's going to let me go, but we're not going to go down the inside here because that's not really a proper overtaking corner. But tyre wear is actually reasonably high, and if you run lower downforce, you're actually going to be suffering a bit more as we are pushing this guy down the straight. So I think he wanted me to overtake him here, wasn't having any of it. So coming off the exit, I've got a guy right behind me, or actually not anymore. So using a little bit of the boost, then we are going to turn it off because I know he is running quite low in the ERS, and you can see how much of a deficit in a straight line he is when he's not running the DRS here. So now we're behind Veloce Dragon, another regular in my lobbies, and my pace I was feeling was very good around here. It's a very intense track to compete against people on. It's, as I said, it's only really one proper overtaking zone. It's very narrow, very easy to make a mistake. It's already really one line going through each corner, and very easy to invalidate or get track limits on. And you have to manage the battery very well as well. So a lot of things you have to think about, like curbs such as that. If you're not paying attention, that can just completely catch you off guard, and your race could just be over in a heartbeat, like it was for George Russell when he was racing around here. So it's a track that I think can really catch you out indeed. But right here now, we're just going to try and focus on getting in the DRS zone of the cars up ahead. Let's see if they've got a red light flashing, as well as A Mercy in here, guy who we know quite well. I raced with him in BRS. He's a very fast driver. He's currently on the soft tyre strategy, so leaders are quite a way ahead. So we've still got quite a bit of work to do. You can see his red light is actually almost losing it on that curb as well. Just shows how easy it is to lose the car around here. So, and yeah, Veloce Dragon just proves my point. He can just lose it very easily. If you hit the curb a bit too much, they're very smooth if you don't completely drive across it. But yeah, if you do drive across it completely, then it's a very unpredictable experience. But now we are behind Sammy Dude, who's on the mediums as well. These two guys here are having a bit of an issue. EXR Stonks, who's a very fast driver, having a bit of a problem up here. I think he's in like the top 20 in the world on time trial, so he's a very fast driver. Believe he is on a controller as well here, so I think he's trying to give him the DRS, because the detection point is just right there as you go into that corner. So on the exit here, really wanted to try and overtake a Sammy Dude at the same time. I know I've got a very good straight line speed here, so I was gaining on them so fast. Both of their red lights are flashing. I actually decided to just take the pair of them going into this corner, because the straight line speed is just so much better, leaving some room on the inside, because yeah, Stonks obviously has a lot of trust in me, because that's probably a corner you don't want to be poking your nose down the inside, because 9 times out of 10 it's probably going to come off worse for the car on the inside. So he definitely has some trust in me to leave him some space, and thankfully we did. So now we're up into 4th place, and we've got, I think, 3 medium runners up ahead of us, A Mercy and Climber 91. So let's see what that gap is going to be as well. Almost losing the car again. So a very tricky corner that is. It's just, you just have to hit it in the right way. Going through that chicane, I think you have to go slow in, fast out. It's very different approaches you can take through there. But I think clip the curb on the entry and then really just completely cut the left part as much as possible. Going through into here, really want to kiss these curbs, don't want to go all over it here. And I was really hoping Stonks wasn't going to overtake me that we were going to work together, because he is running low on the ERS, because I could tell with the last lap, and he actually decides to overtake me, and his red light is flashing as well. So I don't think he was doing himself too many favors there, because we do have a lot more battery power than him at the moment, but nonetheless didn't really lose that much time doing that, and hopefully he pushes on this lap as well. So you can see the soft runners still have quite a good pace at this stage of the race, just making sure we're trying to get out of the DRS zone of the cars up behind. And I think Stonks is actually pushing quite hard here. I think he might be trying to even get out of my DRS zone potentially. Going through into here, let's see if we do it this time. We actually do it very well this time. He gets it actually wrong, so that just shows how much time you can actually lose when you don't get it hooked up. So making sure we really cut this apart. Don't want to be running the curb there, because you can see we lost quite a lot of traction actually doing that. So going through into this, comfortably go be in the DRS zone. We've got a car behind us of Vaza, who's actually a very, very fast driver as well. He's actually got within the DRS zone. Stonks actually pits quite early. In a 25% race, I like to pit at the end of lap 9 or maybe the end of lap 10 to really get the softs going as much as possible, because although they're a good durable tyre, the wear is actually quite a big difference per lap as well. So you can see the guys up ahead, they still have a pretty good pace. So whoever's in the lead, he's boxed this lap, and climb on the softs has continued. So let's see how much time we can actually gain on him as we are coming towards this in lap. And as we are doing this, I will be releasing an F1 esports video on Monday at 4 PM UK time. Really looking forward to doing that video. So I really hope you enjoy it. It's a very, very special video, in fact. So hopefully people will be hyped for that, because it is F1 esports next week, and they are doing Imola, not this event, but in future event they will be doing this track, and I really cannot wait to see what those guys can do around here, because I think qualifying will be very, very crucial for them. So you can see we haven't gained that much on Climber, so we'll go to pits now, giving a little bit of a dummy, and Jacob continues, but Vaza doesn't fall for it. He's going to come into the pits as well. Let's see what kind of pit stop time we can get. It's a 2.6 second pit stop, so a very standard time. Sometimes it's 2.5, but most of the time it is 2.6. So I'm just going to be looking at the mini map here and see who comes past here, and it is a Mercy who's already gone past. So that's quite a big lead he's got. And who else has come past? Stonks has come past, and also Dream Team has gone past as well, but he is on the medium tyres, so we've got to try and get past him as soon as we can. And you can see on the top left, you can see how many people are suffering with track limits. It's definitely quite a big problem around here. I think it's almost on par with Mexico-esque potentially in terms of how difficult it is, but that is definitely one of my strengths, trying to keep it clean. And that's what I try and do in these lobbies as well. As I always say, I treat this like a league race in a way, where I'm testing the ERS, I'm making sure that I'm not getting any track limit invalidations. I try and get 0 every time. That's what I try and do, and I think so far we actually haven't got any invalidations so far at the moment, so going good. And we are well within the DRS zone of the AlphaTauri up ahead, so we're probably not even going to be using that much ERS to try and overtake him. We're probably going to try and save as much as possibly can. He actually gets quite a poor exit. Are we going to use it? Actually, yes, we do, just in case he does decide to use it. He goes defensive, and yeah, he's definitely trying to use a lot to keep ahead of me, but don't think it is going to work, because I'm running a very, very slippery car in the straight line. And now it's about trying to get back in the DRS zone of EXR Stonks up ahead. But despite these guys having penalties, I always want to try and win on track, mainly for pride. I just want to try and because no one really wants to win on penalties, although you'll take it, because being fast and clean isn't an easy thing. You always want to try and win on track as well. So that's definitely what I'm going to try and do here. He's stuck up behind Climber, 1.6 seconds ahead of me. Let's see how much we're gaining him. And you can see really suffering with the track limits here. They're going to go side by side into chicane. EXL Stonks actually gets ahead of him. So let's see if we can do a chicane well. That's pretty much how you want to take it. That's probably the best chicane I've done so far. I was trying to get the DRS zone here, but I think we do just about get within the DRS zone. So that was pretty nice. Coming off the exit here now, I don't think we're going to be using any of the ERS. So we've got the DRS. We do set, or we didn't set the fastest lap of the race because they didn't use all of it on that lap. And Vazza actually sets the fastest lap of the race. But the good thing is we have a lot of ERS still to play with. And I was convinced a lot of other people definitely didn't have as much ERS as this. So coming through into here now, let's see if we can get a really good run off this corner. Is he going to defend this? And just with the power of the soft tyres, just how much more grip he has. Since he did go online, we just quite easily took that position. Now we're on the hunt for a Mercy, who we all know is a very fast driver, and he doesn't actually have a time penalty, so we actually do need to beat him on track if we want to try and win this race at the very least here. So I'm going to try and get in the DRS zone of Stonks, and I think Stonks actually got another penalty going through that chicane, which meant he stayed out of my DRS zone. So I think he's trying very hard to get within the DRS of a Mercy, and for me not to get in his. So we're going to use not anything coming off this corner now, because I don't think he got the DRS on a Mercy, so I felt that my straight line speed is just going to be better than his. No point really using it, because I should be able to try and catch him going through this lap itself. And you can see just going through these corners alone, we've actually managed to get back within the DRS zone. So managing to maintain our battery quite well so far, almost losing it through this corner. And he's going to be held up behind a Mercy. And we've got Jacobs behind, who's again a very fast driver. Raced with many times. He's on the controller as well, but he also has a time penalty of 3 seconds here. So just got to make sure we're in the DRS zone of Stonks up ahead of us. And I think his red light is actually flashing as well, so we're still in a very good position. We're going to use a little bit coming off here just to make sure we are within the DRS zone, which we are comfortably going to do, and making sure that we're out of Jacob's DRS zone here. So we're not going to use anything coming to the exit of this corner. Got a little bit tight here. I think Stonks is going to overtake him on this straight. I don't think he's going to make too much of a defense for the lead here, because he doesn't have a penalty himself. And now if I want to win this race on track, I really have to get past a Mercy on this lap. So that's really what the aim is right now, because then that means I can just wait for the last lap to overtake Stonks. So I was really hoping Stonks would get out of his DRS zone, and because then I would get DRS on the Mercy, and then the Mercy wouldn't have any DRS on the car up ahead. So the gap is about 9/10 between them right now. We're closing up on him very nicely, but the gap between them is actually maintaining quite well, which is something you don't want. So getting a very good exit coming off this corner. The gap is about, it's over a second now. Let's see how good of a chicane a Mercy does. And he does a very good chicane. He's using a bit of overtake on the exit as well. The gap is over a second now, but then he just goes just about back within it again. So that's a bit annoying for me, because as I said, this track, if the car ahead has DRS, it's going to be very hard to overtake. So I'm actually using a bit of overtake here, but you can see because he has the DRS on the car ahead, although I'm quicker in the straight line, you can see we are gaining in the straight line, and his red light is flashing now. There's really nothing that we could do. So being a bit more anxious now, I need to get past him, and his red light is flashing again, so I really need to get past him before the end of this lap here. So coming in very close here, we're just going to poke our nose down the inside, and he is being very generous. But then he gets a very good exit off this corner, so there's a bit of a drag race up here. And this was pretty frustrating because I was really hoping he'd let me go, but he doesn't. He makes it very difficult for me. And as a result of that, that means he's going side by side with Jacobs up behind. So I really need to get within the DRS zone of Stonks, who's now on 9 seconds worth of penalties now. And I still don't think we even have a track invalidation to our name at the moment here. So not using any boost here because we're not going to be close enough to get within the DRS zone. So now we're going to have to try and overtake him without the DRS potentially on this last lap. So we're going to give it everything here. We get a very poor exit, and that's our first track invalidation. So getting a very poor exit coming off here, and we are ourselves under 10% ERS despite us managing it quite well. Now going to 1.2 seconds behind. Let's see how much time we can make up going through these sequence of corners. We got back down to 1.1 seconds. Go give it everything through these sequence of corners and really hustling the car through here, doing a very good job, making about 2 tenths in this first sector so far. Have a lap fresher tyres than him, using the overtake button here now, and now we are within a second of EXR Stonks up behind, but he actually has 12 seconds now worth of penalties. So he's racking up the penalties and going very, very off track once again. So I think he's trying very hard to keep out of our DRS zone, but we only have 1 warning so far, really taking this nicely, and we're going to be comfortably within the DRS zone. But unless he has a catastrophic failure, I think he's probably going to win this on track. But with 12 seconds of penalties, I think he's going to fall back pretty far. But the other guys behind also have a penalty, so he crosses the line in first. We come home in second from last, and we end up winning the race by being the cleanest driver. And yeah, Imola is a lot of fun to drive on this game. I'm really looking forward to league racing around here. Let me know what you think of the track in terms of racing. Thank you so much for the support on the channel. I will be streaming tomorrow BRS Zandvoort, and then also ORL on Sunday, and I think that track is at Silverstone. So some couple really good tracks coming up this weekend, and then we're back to videos on Monday. So thank you so much, and I'll catch you very, very soon. Peace.